kick-ass witch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you're watching another episode of Every Which Way. This time featuring Allison Sattinger of Sunny Rising Leather and Metal. Allison is an old friend of mine, and I'm so excited to get to share her with you today because she is one inspirational woman, and I know there are so many goodies in this interview for you to chomp on. So sit back and enjoy. Here she is, Allison Sattinger. Hi, Allison. Welcome to
Hi.
Every Which Way.
Hi, Joe.
Yay. I haven't seen Allison in years, but we are old friends. And the reason that I wanted to talk to her today is because you are all going to flip out about this and this and all of the amazing jewelry and leather goods that she makes by hand with more love than anything you have ever seen in your entire life. She infuses spirit. She's a deeply spiritual person, and each piece is really special. So, where should we start with this, Allison? Let's start with this ring.
Yes.
You asked me what my favorite flower was, what my favorite stone was, and then you made this. Like, what is the process behind that?
Oh, gosh.
Or any ring, anything you make.
I've got a big box, a machinist's box, which is like, well, it's hard to tell over the computer, but it's big by big. And it's just chock full. Every single drawer is full of stones. And so when someone says, oh, I love, like you said, ocean jasper, lapis, I spent the better part of 3 or 4 years just going online and looking at rocks over and over again and falling in love with certain kinds and amassing this huge collection of rocks. So that's kind of, sometimes that's the focal point of everything. And when you said ocean jasper, so I went and I looked and I was like, oh, that's Joe. Like, the stone was just so perfect for you. So I think there's this element of feeling someone that goes into my work that's really big. And I always thought, you know, when you're face to face with someone, you can feel a lot of what's going on with them. But when you're online, you think, oh, I couldn't possibly feel someone from an email, but holy moly, you can. Like, you can just feel everything that's going on with them. Like, sometimes you get hints of resistance, sometimes you get hints of, like, what they're sussing out with this piece of jewelry, even if they don't say it. And so I just try to go with the instinct that's coming to me and make a piece that's so full of intention and so much more than just jewelry. It's as healing as I can possibly make it. And then the rest is up to the person wearing it.
Right. And that is not just lip service, people. She actually puts that love into it, and you can see it just with your eyes and all of the little details. There's, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you probably can't. I'll take good pictures. But there's, like, texture, like, all built into every little nook and cranny. And then she's just a really soulful person, so she does everything with intent. Can you tell me about the silver part? Like, you asked me what my favorite flower was. Like, why this shape? Why does it look like that?
Oh, so you said a poppy. And so what I did is wherever I go, especially, this is going to make me feel choked up, especially with Orion. If I go somewhere with him and we have an afternoon, he'll put his hands on a leaf or something that's fallen on the ground, and 9 times out of 10, that's going right into my collection of things to get put through the rolling mill. So when you said a poppy, I took a poppy leaf that I had pressed, and I think I had gotten it on just a walk around the neighborhood. There's a lot of beautiful flowers in San Jose, and I pressed a poppy in, and so I took a poppy leaf out, and I pressed it between 2 pieces of silver, and then it goes through a rolling mill, which at a very high pressure imprints the leaf onto both pieces of metal. So you have twins, like 2 twin images, and then the piece that you've pressed is decimated. Like, there's nothing left. All the organic material is just gone. So it's a very beautiful process that really, I think, I believe that there's just so much potency in plants and plant material that doesn't stop when the plant material gets crushed. I feel like it gets transferred to the metals. And then whatever healing that plant has to offer, I feel like metal's so intelligent in a strange way. It actually remembers things. And that's one of the craziest things I ever experienced, was my mentor coming to teach me how to do some forming. And I had a piece that I was making a spiculum, which is like a little straw kind of formation with the metal. And I had bent it, and we were trying to bend it the other way. And she said, well, you know, metal has a memory. So it actually wants to bend back the original way that you had bent it. Like it has desires, it has a memory. And I just thought, well, if plants get mixed up in that, then what kind of magic would that be for somebody?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredibly cool. And I'm not going to only just talk about my jewelry, but a video I made that was very popular was called The Giving Tree, about a tree that got cut down on the border of my property, and I got all choked up in that video. I got choked up when I saw your face today as well. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I was talking about how I was sad this tree got cut down, and you sent me a message saying, send me a leaf. And I did, and you made this incredible necklace out of that same process, and it's very special and wonderful. Both things, I love them to death.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, and Orion, you did not tell us who Orion is, but when I met you and when we hung out, you were a single woman, childless, and now...
I was wild and crazy.
And now, you know what, though? You're exactly the same in so many ways, and...
Wow.
It's beautiful to see you just ground deeper and deeper into that. I just made a video about copycats in business and being authentic, and how when you're authentic, what flows from that is consistency and originality. And I easily could have used you as an example, because I see that throughout the years of
that,
what you've done.
I feel like it's hard to get to. I feel like when you're a business owner and when you look at anything that's outside of you, especially on the internet, you could Google exactly what you want to do, and you could see 10,000 versions of beautiful things that people are making. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the hardest part of starting something like this business, is just really paring down to, well, what am I saying, And if I could go back in time, I would probably have paused for the first year of metalsmithing and not sold anything, because I was so busy being like, oh, that's beautiful, that I still hadn't yet been like, oh, this is my voice in metal. Like in leather, I'd always felt like exactly what I started doing was what came out. It was very much in my voice from the very beginning. But metal was like, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's pretty. And I finally feel like in the last couple of years, there's really been kind of a melting down into like, this is the ore of what I have to give. And right now, I'm so inundated with ideas, and because of Orion.
Right, yes, let's bring that back. That's what I was going to ask you, is how has he been a part of that process for you?
Oh gosh. Here's
son,
everything.
by the way.
my son, who is almost 2 now. Gosh. And I'm sure you understand that, I don't know what things were like for you when you had Tanner, but it's like the creative bubbling that seems to happen just by looking at them approach their world is just huge. You're watching walking wonder constantly. Mm-hmm. Everything's amazing. Everything's new, So how can you not be around that and not pick up little pieces of wonder and have it kind of affect your work? So it's caused an explosion of ideas, which is interesting because there's not as much time to implement those ideas. So it's like this dance that I've been doing.
I know that dance very well. What's great is, you had your son when you were in your 30s. I had my son the day after I turned 20, so I feel like I missed that. I did not appreciate those early years and the way that I see you really connected to that with your son. You document that on your blog. Oh, her blog is so poetic. I keep talking to them and to you, but I'm excited. I'm like Let's
That's
promote
great.
Allison because she's amazing, and I know my viewers are just going to fall in love with you for sure. And your blog is one reason for that. You document your son's life, really, but sometimes it's very poignant, and you don't keep, the dirty stuff out. You talk about, I'm so tired, or whatever you're feeling, but it's always in a poetic kind of way that is resonant for the reader.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's really a fine line. I'm sure with blogging, how much do you share? How much do you keep for yourself? How transparent are you in how your life is affecting your work? And it's such an interesting balance to me. And I've definitely aired more in the last couple of years, being pregnant and then having a child, with the just a really strong urge to connect, not so much self-protective as trusting that if I just go like this, that's all the protection I need. In the openness, you're kind of saying, like, you can't, there's nothing that's going to hurt because I have nothing that's, nothing to hide. And at the same time, the privacy of your family life, that there are things that you just kind of, okay, that's just for us,
Yeah, definitely. And that image that thing you just did with your hands.
That's doors to my heart.
Yeah, but this is like a focal point for you. That's really interesting to me. It was the cover of one of your albums.
Yeah.
And you use that a lot to showcase your necklaces.
Yeah.
And you're a beautiful singer. One of your records is called Vox, which means voice. And another is called Steady Heart, which I think is who you are. I think you're a very steady. When we were friends, I felt like I had more like, woo! like more chaos, and you were like, you'd show up. She was recording with my husband, Billy, this record that she was doing. She'd show up like 15 minutes early and sit out in her car and probably meditate or ground or say a prayer of attention or something like that. That's what I'm thinking you were doing in your car. That was perfectly clean. Like, everything was clean and orderly. Wow. You had your little apartment. It was adorable, small, perfectly clean. You were very intentional. So when I saw your record was called Steady Heart and how consistent you've been with everything, I was like, that is Allison, for sure.
Nice.
Yes, the Steady Heart. And you're singing. So this is what brought you to Los Angeles, which is how we know each other. How is that working out now with being a mom and doing, all of the jewelry and the bags? Do you feel like you're pouring that into the blog with some of this poetry? It's poetry, it is.
I think that's probably where the lyrics have gone. I think they've gone into communication. But I still get snippets and bits. It's just, I've had to be very lovingly directive with myself about this particular time in my life. And I think that one of the ways that I approach living is I look at, like, how would I feel in 5 years if I made this decision? Okay, well, how would I feel in 5 years if I made this decision? And I look at 5 years from now and I think, would I like to say, oh my gosh, I was so productive. I wrote and I sang and I built and I sold and I communicated, and like, how much do I want to say that was, what went on, and how much do I want to say I had the best time ever with my son before he went to preschool? So I've actually kind of erred on the side of saying I've had the best time ever with my son. So I have a babysitter for 10 hours a week, and then on the weekends, one of the days, my husband and Orion have boys' day.
Oh, perfect.
They're actually napping right now together. It's adorable. And then, the music is kind of like, I sing to him constantly. He's never not being sung to. So I kind of feed that part of things that way. And then, when he goes to preschool, that's kind of when I feel like life will start to filter back into the choices that I'm making when he's at school will be all mine. Mm-hmm. His level of exposure to the world will be greater. He'll have friends. They'll have play dates. It's going to be so different. So I'm really working very consciously to live in this period and trust that I will look back and see that it was so much fun.
Yeah. That's a challenging choice to make, because you do have a gift and people do recognize that, and it's an undeniable gift, and you don't deny that gift yourself. You did the LA Woman show, and after I was like, Allison, you're like the least flashy of the girls, like the least like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and you got on stage and it was the most powerful performance, and you go, I know. It was so but it was so sincere and not pompous at all. But you just open your mouth and it just gives everybody chills.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do. There's a part of me that misses performing. And there's a part of me that's really comforted not performing. That's tough stuff. You know, to put yourself out there in a way that's just so, with jewelry, with something tangible, you can say, like, this is start to finish. But when you're in front of a group of people, there's just, you got the chattering mind going on, you know, and you're also giving something and you're hoping that it's being received well. It's so intense. Oh my gosh.
And you play piano, I would like to add. And guitar. Don't you play guitar as well?
Not anymore. Just piano.
Just piano.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so an artist through and through. I think this time was made for people like us. Marie Forleo calls us multi-passionate entrepreneurs, and we are so blessed to be born in a time when we can do all of these things. We can stay home with our children and create. We have the internet in our home, so we can make things, put them up for sale, produce records, promote them on YouTube. It's amazing.
And you, instead of reaching your town, you reach the entire world. You have the capacity to reach the entire world. It's crazy.
It's amazing, yeah. And it's, you know, if you grow up in a small town and you feel restricted by that, like, that's no longer an issue.
No, not at all. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what's the process if somebody are you available for somebody that wants to order jewelry from you, or are you just doing what's inspiring you and putting it in the shop? You're using Etsy, so you put it up in the shop and then people can buy it. And the leather, we should talk about that too.
Yeah. I do custom orders in blocks. So I have this tendency to offer, like the last time it was October, and I offered 12 single custom order slots in the metal shop. And I'm going away to Minneapolis to be with family in a couple of weeks, in about a week, actually. Oh my gosh, time's flying. But when I come back from that trip in February, I'll actually offer another block of customs because I've finished most of the previous ones. Mm-hmm. That is just such a joy for me, because a lot of the time it's not just that people are saying, I really like this design that you previously made. They're saying, I had this life event happen that's big and I want to commemorate it or heal from it or remember it. You know, it's just such a neat thing to be able to be included in somebody's, just to honor their life with them.
Mm-hmm. And you aren't making cheap pieces. You're making stuff that's built to last.
Yes.
It's super
all
quality.
The connections, all the little connections are closed. I remember when I started silversmithing, I didn't know anything. You know, I took a class at a community college in LA where the instructor said, he was this old Jewish man, and he was so feisty and awesome, and he was like, I'm never going to do this for a living. I'll do all the soldering for you. So nobody soldered, and we were all just like, here, we need to solder this thing closed. And so I kind of learned the little tiny basics. And I really think that being self-taught is a neat way to learn, because you have kind of the world. You're not limited by what the curriculum says you should or shouldn't do. And at the same time, you know, when I first started, I wasn't soldering my jump rings closed until I had a dear friend of mine say, like, of course you solder your jump rings closed, you know, so you really, like, you're learning bit by bit. But that didn't take very long since I'd started to learn, like, you make something and you make it so that the generation after that generation uses it as well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does your spirituality come into play? Because I don't know exactly where your journey has taken you. I know I'm very New Agey, and when we were hanging out, we did some very New Agey things together. Yes. And then you married. Isn't he like a progressive Christian?
He is. I don't know exactly what he would call himself anymore. We have had some spectacularly amazing conversations about God and spirituality. We both, for sure, believe in a higher power. I mean, absolutely. Whether for him anymore it is Christ, I'm not sure. But for me, I'm a mishmash. I believe so completely in a higher power. And I believe so much in things like, I know you're a big fan of the law of attraction. I believe in that a lot, in a lot of ways. I also believe a little bit in chaos, and I don't know if I necessarily had that in my mind. I believe in earth power. I believe in so many different things. And when I put it all together, it's greatly comforting for me. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that because it's so much about it's a part of what you do. And it's a part of the pieces you sell. It's a part of your blog. It's just who you are. And I have, a silly request I told you before, but my mom's favorite song of yours is on your very first self-titled album that I don't even think is for sale anymore, but it's So Much Grace. Did you ever re-record that for another record?
So Much Grace was on Vox, actually.
It was?
It was on Vox.
Oh, okay. Well, then people can buy it. But will you sing a little piece of that? Because it's so beautiful, and it's a cappella mostly, and it's gorgeous.
Sure. Oh, I'll sing one that would probably jive well with your viewers, too. Okay,
yeah.
So. When love calls you, answer boldly. Life is boundless, beautiful and holy. Let your light shine. Let it shine, shine, shine. Be filled with so much grace. I am filled with so much grace.
You did. People don't know I was choked up when we got on Skype, and now it's happening again. So we began and ended our conversation with crying. Oh, you're so beautiful. Can you give us, maybe this will cool off the tears, can you give us one tip for creating the kick-ass life of your dreams before I let you go?
Oh, seek out happiness at all times. Just make that the number one priority beyond some sort of success, beyond finances. If those things, coalesce into one thing for you, great. But always choose the happiness over something else.
Yay. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Jo.
Much love. Peace.